Q.2 Merits and Demerits of Liberalism. 1. Conceptual understanding. Liberalism is a political and philosophical ideology that emphasizes individual freedom, equality before the law, limited government, and the protection of civil rights. Emerging during the Enlightenment period, it arose as a reaction against absolute monarchy, feudalism, and religious dogmatism. Thinkers such as John Locke, Adam Smith, and John Stuart Mill shaped its foundations, promoting liberty, reason, and the belief in human progress. While liberalism champions personal autonomy and democratic participation, critics argue that it can lead to social inequality and excessive individualism. 2. Core principle. At its heart, liberalism is built on the belief that individuals are rational beings capable of self-determination. It prioritizes the protection of individual rights, life, liberty, and property against arbitrary authority. Liberalism views the state as a necessary but limited institution, strong enough to protect rights, yet restrained from infringing upon them. Merits of liberalism. 3. Promotion of individual freedom. The foremost virtue of liberalism lies in its defense of individual liberty. John Locke's assertion that every person possesses natural rights to life, liberty, and property became the cornerstone of liberal thought. This belief influenced major democratic documents such as the U.S. Declaration of Independence and the French Declaration of the Rights of Man. For instance, freedom of speech, religion, and expression are liberal achievements that protect personal autonomy against state tyranny. 4. Protection of human rights and rule of law. Liberalism insists that the state should function under a constitution that guarantees legal equality and safeguards individual rights. The principle of rule of law, where everyone including the government is subject to law, originates from liberal ideals. This ensures that justice is impartial, preventing abuses of power. Modern democracies embody this merit through independent judiciaries and codified bills of rights. 5. Advocacy of democracy and political participation. Liberalism supports representative democracy, emphasizing consent of the governed. Thinkers like Rousseau and Mill argued that political legitimacy stems from public participation and accountability. The liberal preference for free elections, political pluralism, and checks and balances ensures that no institution or leader monopolizes power. This ideal has shaped stable democratic systems such as those in the United Kingdom, Canada, and India. 6. Economic freedom and prosperity. Economic liberalism, influenced by Adam Smith's theory of the invisible hand, promotes free markets, private property, and minimal state intervention. The liberal argument is that economic freedom leads to innovation, competition, and overall prosperity. Industrial growth in Western Europe and the United States during the 18th and 19th centuries exemplifies how liberal capitalism fostered wealth and technological progress. 7. Tolerance, pluralism, and social progress. Liberalism values diversity of thought and belief. By advocating tolerance and freedom of conscience, it encourages peaceful coexistence among different religious, cultural, and ideological groups. This pluralistic approach has allowed liberal societies to adapt to changing moral and cultural conditions. For instance, movements for gender equality and LGBTQ+ rights emerged within liberal frameworks that emphasize individual dignity and choice. 8. Encouragement of rationality and scientific spirit. Rooted in Enlightenment rationalism, liberalism believes human progress comes through reason and empirical inquiry rather than tradition or divine revelation. This intellectual freedom spurred scientific and technological revolutions, making liberal societies centers of innovation, education, and reform. Universities, press freedom, and open debate owe much to liberal thought. 2. Demerits of liberalism. 9. Excessive individualism and social fragmentation. The liberal emphasis on individual autonomy, when unchecked, may lead to social atomization and moral relativism. Critics like Karl Marx and communitarian thinkers argue that liberalism overlooks the social nature of humans, weakening collective bonds and community values. For example, in modern capitalist societies, the pursuit of self-interest can result in isolation, consumerism, and erosion of social solidarity. 10. Economic inequality and exploitation. Although liberalism promotes free markets, its economic version often widens the gap between rich and poor. Laissez-faire capitalism, by minimizing state intervention, allows wealth to concentrate in the hands of a few. The Industrial Revolution, while economically transformative, also produced severe working-class exploitation, which led to socialist reactions. Hence, liberalism's promise of equality of opportunity often translates into practical inequality of outcomes. 11. Neglect of social welfare. Classical liberalism's focus on minimal government ignores the state's role in ensuring social justice and welfare. When left to market forces, the vulnerable, such as the poor, elderly, or disabled, may be left unprotected. This shortcoming led to the emergence of modern or welfare liberalism in the 20th century, as seen in Keynesian economics and welfare state models, which sought to correct earlier liberal excesses. 12. Over-reliance on rationalism and human perfectibility. Liberalism assumes that humans are rational beings capable of making informed, moral choices. However, history shows that individuals can act irrationally under emotional, cultural, or populist influences. For instance, democratic liberal societies have sometimes elected leaders who undermine liberal norms themselves, exposing a contradiction within the system. 13. Cultural and moral relativism. The liberal commitment to tolerance and individual choice can sometimes erode shared moral standards. When all values are seen as equally valid, societies risk moral confusion or ethical permissiveness. This dilemma is evident in debates over issues like drug legalization or extreme forms of expression that challenge social cohesion. 14. Weakness in addressing power and inequality structures. Critics such as Michel Foucault and Marxists point out that liberalism underestimates the subtle ways power operates within institutions and ideologies. Formal freedoms may exist, but structural inequalities in class, race, or gender persist. Liberalism's legal equality does not always translate into substantive equality. 15. Summary for quick understanding. Liberalism's greatest merit lies in its defense of freedom, equality, and democracy, creating societies that respect individual rights, foster economic growth, and encourage intellectual progress. Yet, its weaknesses stem from overemphasis on individualism, insufficient concern for social justice, and blind faith in rational self-interest. While it liberated humanity from despotism, it also unleashed challenges of inequality and moral disintegration. 16. Quick revision notes. Liberalism is equal to freedom, reason, and limited government. Merits: protects rights, promotes democracy, encourages economic and intellectual progress. Demerits: promotes inequality, neglects welfare, overvalues individualism. Classical liberalism is equal to economic freedom. Modern liberalism is equal to social responsibility. 17. One-line questions and answers for revision. 1. What is the core idea of liberalism? Belief in individual liberty and limited government. 2. Who is called the father of liberalism? John Locke. 3. Which liberal thinker advocated free markets? Adam Smith. 4. What political system does liberalism favor? Representative democracy. 5. What is the chief merit of liberalism? Protection of individual rights and freedoms. 6. What is its main economic criticism? It increases inequality. 7. How does liberalism view the state? As a necessary but limited institution. 8. Which form of liberalism supports welfare policies? Modern or social liberalism. 9. What moral risk arises from excessive liberal tolerance? Moral relativism. 10. What reactionary ideology arose to counter liberal capitalism? Socialism. 18. Final connection. Liberalism's historical mission has been to free individuals from arbitrary authority, promote human dignity, and advance progress through reason and consent. Yet, in practice, its economic and cultural dimensions have generated tensions between liberty and equality, autonomy and community. Modern democracies continue to balance these contradictions, refining liberal principles to sustain both personal freedom and social justice in an interdependent world. Q.3 Merits and demerits of the reformatory theory of punishment.